Tommy Silva, founder of TNT Tinting Specialist, and Mike Burke, founder of Sunstoppers. Welcome.
Aloha.
Welcome. Aloha. Is that the right term for your area? Is aloha?
Yes, aloha actually means hello, welcome. It means goodbye. It means love. A lot of things, but yes, aloha.
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 So, Tommy, first and foremost, congratulations on joining the Window Film Hall of Fame this year, being inducted in.
Thank you. That was a surprise and very humbling, especially with somebody like Mike Burke introducing me at that luncheon. I was blown away.
And you've been in the industry since, is it 1982?
Yeah, I opened TNT in 82, but I'd worked for another company for about 4 years before that. So about 78, 79, I started professionally. And then back from 77 as a hobby in my dad's garage.
Wow. So that is a lifetime, literally, of the industry.
Hey, Tommy, what was the first car you ever tinted in your life? Like number one?
First car was a car that I had to buy for my dad. It was my first car. 1971 Datsun 510.
Oh,
Two-door. I wish I still had it. It's a pretty hot car right now.
510. That's a cool little car, actually.
Yeah.
Was it a 5-speed, 4-speed?
It was automatic.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
What did you put on it? Do you remember what film?
Oh, it was an ugly R35, like a reflective 35% series. It was just
I know. What brand?
It was a Lumar brand. It was a
Cortals.
No, it wasn't Lumar. It was Matico, because I bought it from Amco Glass Tinting in Hawaii. So it was a Matico silver, like residential commercial film. It went on the car.
That's awesome. I did that years ago.
I couldn't see anything from the inside looking out at night. Once the dash lights lit up, you just see yourself in the side mirror. It was like all mirrored on the inside.
I love it. So the thing is, in Hawaii, how hard was it to actually get window film, like a distributor? Like, is it harder in Hawaii to get products? Like in the States, I guess we have a little easier access. Like you have to ship things over to Hawaii.
Everything has to be shipped here, yeah. So it's not harder. Back then, we still have a couple local distributors. Amco is one of them that did the medical brands, and then there's a Solar Guard distributor that's local too. So they have film in stock, so you can pick up film, same day. But we usually, once I started TNT, we would just order direct from the manufacturer, and with we buy so much film now that they ship twice a week to us. From just comes on a pallet.
Yeah, exactly. Save a lot of money in shipping.
But we do project what we're going to need and order ahead because, the recent dock strikes and stuff like that happen, and we really get screwed up out here. Not only materials for business, but everything you live with, toilet paper and anything that comes from the mainland.
So I'm going to ask you, going from tinting your first car to where you finally got into some products that actually had scratch coating and actually shrunk. Can you tell me a little bit about the struggles that you went through for like the first 4 or 5 years when you first started?
Yeah, first 4 or 5 years. Back when we were with the company that I was working before TNT, it was called At Home Auto Glass Tinting. And that was in 79 probably. We were using films that were just coming out without scratch coat. They didn't even have scratch resistant coatings. Before that, right before that, before I even started with At Home Auto Glass, I was on my own. And the films that I would get would be like films that didn't even have adhesive on them. And you'd have to mix glue with, powdered glue, you mix it with water, it comes out this white, ugly paste, you put it in a spray bottle, you're spraying on the film, it's dripping everywhere, it's all over the door panels. Yeah, it was a mess. I mean, so the film has evolved, thank God, with technology and time to the point now where we have, beautiful scratches and films with release liners and adhesive on the film already, and it's shrinkable. And so, to see the change in the materials, and now our installers would complain about the films they have now about different brands. This one shrinks better. I'm like, oh, you have no clue.
We had to use the sun as going back an hour or two later to take and do relief cuts. And yeah, I know, it's insane, man. The old school days.
Before shrinking, we used to splice back windows, splice them up.
Seamless. We seamless, butt seam them. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah, and I'm ambidextrous, so I would, cut one way on the heater line and then stop and come back the other way and meet perfectly and take out both sides. And
so we need to have a veterans at the International Window Film Conference over 60 or actually over 50. You have to be in the industry 30 years or more to enter, but you have to two-piece a back window and seamless to see if you cut.
Yeah. And not have any lines.
The vet class. This is called the vet class, right?
Yeah. Well, in Hawaii, we call it the Makuli League.
The Makuli.
Makuli is the old guys. So when you go by the park and all the old guys are playing, oh yeah, the Makuli League is playing. The kids can't play yet.
That's funny.
Yeah.
So as two tinters that have been in the industry and business owners for literally, over 4 decades each, and both have built a large team, I'd love to hear from both of you kind of what you feel when you think back were keys to longevity, both for you in the industry to be able to thrive and enjoy your time and grow, as well as to be able to build and carry a team throughout those decades and sustain that growth over such a long period of time. What stands out as kind of keys to that longevity?
Mike, you want to take that first?
Well, what I'm going to pass along to you is I started off mobile tinting. I was mobile. And I believe today, if you do mobile tinting for 1 to 3 years, you build an audience around you. So you get a trust factor of the body shops, the dealerships, a network of car dealerships, car stereo shops, accessory shops, and you build a name for yourself as a hustler, somebody that can go out and actually hustle. Okay. And be there on time and be dependable, do a good job, stand up for, there wasn't such things as Google reviews. We had the yellow pages, right? So I worked off a pager and I had different pager numbers. So when people put 311, 411, 511, I knew which shop that was texting me in a page to call them and say, hey, I got 2 cars for you. I got 3 cars for you. When can you do them? The thing that I will tell you is I'm going to pass the ball back to you, Tommy, just a little bit, but we both started mobile. Okay. And some of the best window tinters I know today started off as mobile because we dealt with contamination. We dealt with the environment of the store, peeling film off the doors, off the door panels, anything that we air peeling it, like whatever the hell we could do. I actually got in cars sometimes and actually peeled in the car, tinted the window, sitting in the driver's seat. When I was mobile, I went to like a car wash, like a coin operated car wash, and met a guy there tinting his damn car, used a torch, torching it, didn't have a heat gun. But I read Window Film Magazine, Eric, in like the late 80s, maybe early 90s, I guess. It was like maybe 96, 97. I started tinting in 1988. I was not a professional in my mind until I actually got out of college and started my very first tint shop, or actually mobile tinting, was 95, 6, 7. And then I started my very first tint shop called Lightning Mike's window tinting. But when I was mobile, I was the tint man. It was just me, man. I never had an employee. I never had a helper. I never had shit. It was just me, my money, my relationships, my vendors. And when I maxed out travel, maxed out what I could personally do, I said, screw this shit. I need to get a freaking shop and have everybody come to me. So I maxed out my first layer of income. So as a business person, as a marketer, I maxed out my income. There was no more income unless I raised my prices.
Right.
Okay? So I was tinting as many cars as I could. I was maxed out. It's like there was no more. And I said, okay, well, I've hit a cap. And I said, let's get a shop. And then I can do more, because then I can tint more cars if they come to me.
Right.
But I read Window Film Magazine years ago, and my very first international window film tint off. And it was a Matico sponsored event in Fort Lauderdale. And everyone was talking about Tommy. Everybody. They were like, I was like, who's the biggest shop around who does? Tommy in Hawaii, because Lumar and Eastman weren't really a team yet. Lumar was kind of the main brand, I guess, back in the day. There was Johnson, there was Matico, but Lumar had like their pit crew of people promoting them, and going out, and they sponsored NASCAR, like I think in the late 90s. Right. And they were being proactive and aggressive. And I think if they would have kept with the same model they had in the late 90s, there wouldn't be anybody else. They would have fucking taken over everything. I don't know what leadership changed there, but things I think just changed in general in the industry. I don't know exactly, but I knew that they were like the heavy hitters back in the day. You partnered with Lumar early on, but Tommy built a team bigger and stronger and better than me at the beginning. And I'd like to hear how Tommy did it.
I started mobile too. That wasn't fun, especially when you go to somebody's house and like, see the car that they made the appointment for. Like, oh yeah, it's in the backyard, under the mango tree. The dogs are back there running around. Yeah, so mobile is a good way to start, but yeah, you got to have some thick skin and resiliency. It's not easy dealing with wind and dust and all of that and coming out with a nice product. So I did that for a while. Ended up finding a shop, hiring a couple of people, and it's just a matter of that. I mean, to me, it's the people. I mean, if you don't have the people, I'm gonna have to. My battery is dying, and this charger is dead. I gotta push against the wall and grab a wire and plug it to the wall. Let me grab a wire. I'll be right back.
You are old, Tommy. Don't worry, my laptop was dead. I literally charged it I plugged it in 7 minutes before this. So I'm in the same battle. I do everything mostly off my phone. I don't use my laptop unless I really need it.
Okay, I'm good now. Okay, sorry about that, guys.
No,
yeah, so finding the right people in the team is just. I mean, you can have the best products, you can have the best shop, you can have the best tools, best marketing, all that. It really comes back to the people. And I was lucky enough to find some really good people early on that are still with me. Like Sean Steinhoff, who's my operations manager, been with me 38 years already.
That's incredible. Let me stop you there. How did you meet this guy, and how did you know he was going to be the right employee? Like, okay, you're tinting mobile, you get your first shop, and then all of a sudden it's like, I need some freaking help. So you put out a bat signal and said, okay, who can help me do this?
I had a small shop, and he would come around. He was actually repoing. He was repoing furniture and TVs and stuff for Canyon Rent to Own. So he'd pull up with the Canyon truck and stop and talk to us, and he'd run into low income homes and stuff where he got to take away their TV, and it's like fighting the whole family to grab the TV and get it out of the room. And I said, man, why don't you come work with me? So he came over and started working with me, and just never left. He's just a good guy that has been one of the loyal soldiers, man.
So one question I've got.
He brought other people too.
His network. He brought some friends and people he knew. And that usually.
We're just friends of friends, and we find that to be the best. We can create our culture with people of like mind and just work ethic that's real solid. And not there really for the paycheck. They're there for the mission and the team and the fun. We have a lot of fun doing what we do. And we built the first shop, and then the second shop, and the third shop, and it just was, just lucky to find the right people. And even till today, our best tinters are bringing their friends, and they're seeing young tinters in their 20s buying new cars and buying wheels and buying renting a nice place, and then eventually my biggest feather in my caps are when my people buy homes here. When my tinters in their 30s can buy a home here in Hawaii, that's unattainable for most people. Most of my employees that are buying homes, their parents still rent. So it's a big thing for me and my wife Terry when when we see our employees getting ahead. And the way we try to keep them is keeping the culture fresh and new, and keeping it to the point where everybody, we run I'm going to steer the ship, but I mean, wherever we have meetings and we get everybody's input about what's going on and what they want to try and what they think we should do. And, if it's, interesting and valid input, we try it. And it's kind of how we shaped the company over the past 42 years, is just a lot of input from the employees and customers, of course. And we shape our next move based on keeping everybody's ideas kind of in the realm.
The one question I got for you, Tommy, not to interrupt, but when you hired your very first person, your buddy, what's his name?
Sean.
Okay. You're new, you're mobile. You have never had an employee work for you ever in your life.
I think you had a shop at the time, yeah?
You just got a shop.
At that time, I had a shop, yeah.
How long, when you opened the shop, did you hire him?
Oh, immediately.
Okay.
Shop on the
So how was the discussion? Because I have other tent shops call me for consulting, and I want to get your input because you're a wise man and I respect the shit out of you. How did you have a conversation, and what did you have a conversation about on pay? Like, this guy comes in, he's like, hey, bro, I need to be paid this. Like, how did that topic of discussion, what did you see from the very beginning? Open your shop, bring this guy on board. You saw ambition, you saw drive, you saw a culture, you saw an ethic about this guy that you liked. You saw something about him you liked. I call it dating. I see someone that's attractive enough to date. Okay. And I tell this to people that, and I say that openly in business, that if you would not date this person, you shouldn't hire this person. If they have bad habits, they're going to continue to have bad habits. So the thing is, what was your way of handling the first initial conversation of pay? Like, how did that come up? What did he see his value?
In our structure, our installers, they have unlimited pay. That's how I word it. You want to work hard. You want to, not do an 8 to 5. You don't do 5 days a week. You want to make money. You can come here and you can make as much money as you want. And many times I've had employees make more money than me at each pay period. You got it. I mean, and so we're commission based. I mean, so there's no ceiling for you. You can come in. If you can do 4 cars before lunch and 4 cars after lunch, it's 8 cars. You're going to make this amount of money. You want to stay a little bit late and do a 9th car, whatever. I mean, you can make as much as you want. You want to jump on a road crew and go do a couple of houses on the weekend when you're supposed to be off, jump on a road crew and go do a home. We teach everybody everything they want to know. So it's really unlimited. I mean, we have installers that come in. We start them as driver preppers in the automotive division. Once they get that down, we start training them on the easier side windows in our application. We use the core cutting system, so we don't even have to teach anybody how to cut anymore, which is really a good thing for the owners of a business. And that way, you're just teaching them how to apply, how to shrink, and they can make 6 figures in a year.
So as far as automotive versus flat glass, what would you say the percentage of your company is? It 50-50, 40-60?
We were right at 50-50 before pandemic, and now we're more like 60-40 automotive after pandemic, just because a lot of our big stuff like these hotels they got hurt bad. So window tinting got redlined on a lot of projects. So that's coming back slowly, but we're about 60-40 more automotive right now, because also our PPF has really picked up since pandemic too. So we're doing a lot of PPF.
What are you seeing as far as advertising working the best, other than been in business 40 something years and everybody knowing who you are? Are you doing any advertising right now? Because that's a key topic right now, because I'm getting inboxed right and left. Hey, I need to do Google ads. I need to do Facebook ads. And I tell everybody, you need to sprinkle the salt everywhere. You can't just do one thing. You have to kind of sprinkle it everywhere.
And not only that, Mike, you also got to be consistent. You cannot run a radio campaign on afternoon drive when it's hot for a month. We run radio, I would say, consistently for 40 years. and we run TV consistently for 40 years. And now we're doing social media, which just came about in the last 8 or whatever, how many years. Eric could probably answer that very, very quickly. I don't even know how long social media has been around, but now we're adding that to the menu. So it's just consistency. I mean, we dropped yellow pages before anybody else did, which is something I thought was kind of risky back in the day when yellow pages were you had to be in, and Hawaii had 4 yellow pages, and you have to be in all 4 of the books. And and you have to buy a half-page ads. You're in front of everybody else and all that garbage. But nobody of the younger generation understands what we're talking about. But that went away early for us. About 15, almost 18 years ago, we stopped advertising the yellow page and we moved it into Google Ads and Google AdWords and search engine SEO stuff and all kinds of other things that were starting to come out back then. We jumped on that early and dumped what we thought was a dinosaur, which is the yellow pages. So we do TV annual contracts still today. We do radio contracts annually. And it's not a lot, maybe $3,000 a month on TV and $3,000 a month on radio. And then we spend about 10%, almost 8 to 10% of our gross on advertising.
So Garrick, I want you to replay what he just said about 30 times. If you can clip it down later in like a little reel, we spend 8 to 10% of gross profit on advertising. We spend 8 to 10%.
Not gross profit.
Gross revenue.
Gross revenue.
Yeah.
Because these, what I consider the newbies, less than 5 years. Okay. That's what I consider a newbie in the industry to me, less than 5 years. Would you agree with that, Tommy?
Oh, yeah.
5 years, that's a newbie to me, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're spoiled fucking rotten, in my opinion, because they came into business as a rocket ship. Right. And now they're like, hey, man, I just, things aren't doing what they were doing 2 years ago. And now sales are down. And what do I do for marketing? And what do I do? You weren't doing any marketing. You weren't doing any branding. You would just put a sign on your building and said, hey, I got a nice TikTok account. I got a nice Instagram account, Facebook account. Next thing you know, a little bit of a website. I paid some dude I know down the street to do my website, and everybody started making money. Right. Now they're calling me and I'm like, I got 36 years in the business and I've been spending 8 to 10% of my gross revenue for the last 20 years. You're not going to play catch up to me tomorrow.
But I bet you, Mike, in your towns, your name, your Sunstoppers is probably a household name.
Household.
But I also disagree with not being able to play catch up to you, Mike, though. I got to challenge you on that one because that was kind of, you just almost spoke to like essentially how I felt when I came into the industry and seeing other companies that have been established for a long time and saying, I can do what you did in 20 years and I'm going to do it in 3, 4, 5. And there's always that person, and that just takes potentially innovation and so on, and being direct and finding a niche and not just doing a little bit of everything, but really trying to drive it. So I know what you're saying. And of course, like when you have 30, 40 years in an area, and like in your case, Tommy, like people have seen you on TV for decades. They've grown up with you. They've literally been a baby and watched your commercials, and now they have babies, and they've heard you in the radio in the car. Like that doesn't go away at all. And I'm not in any way diminishing that. I'm just saying to Mike, to your point, there is always somebody coming for you. And I think part of the challenge is not only just growing from start to finish, but as you do that, of course, being aware that the same advantages you found when you were starting off, somebody is finding those advantages, and you want to make sure that you're not that same person that somebody who is kind of able to disrupt potentially, which in neither of your cases been disrupted. I'm not trying, but you see those instances where companies do get disrupted significantly at a later stage.
Sure. Oh, I agree. It's just so much, the technology has advanced so much, the way marketing works now. I mean, Mike and I are the old dinosaurs that did it from Yellow Pages up. And even before that, it was handing out, flyers and door hangers and all that stuff, cold calling, guerrilla marketing. Those things are all digital now. And I think it's easier now than it was in our day to do
way
this.
Easier.
You know,
It's way more accessible. There's way more mediums to reach consumers.
Way more.
I mean, it's direct.
Look how changeable it is. You can change your message in an instant. Right now, you can change your message and it's out there. Once you put your ad in a freaking Yellow Pages, it's there for a whole year.
Well, Tommy, to get back to your point, Eric, I'm 51 years old, and technology is hard for me. Like, just logging on this damn computer to talk to you, I'm over here like having a little bit of a mild panic attack. Like, oh shit, let me make sure I get this fucking thing working.
Mike, a whole crew of people putting headsets, plugging stuff in, and rebooting stuff. And
I'm just saying, I'm good at what I do. I know what I'm good at. I know what I'm not good at, and I pay other people to do that shit. So, realistically, Eric, like, when you see this, there's a kid in Dallas that built a TikTok platform. Caden, I think his name is. Carlos has done a lot on YouTube. They grew up with a phone in their hand and the internet in their hand their whole life. They have grown up on social media. I've been managing stores and people and problems and kids and marriages and all kinds of shit that I didn't have the time or the bandwidth to like focus my attention on this stuff. Once these people, and I'm saying these are 20 to 30-year-old guys, when they get older and they have kids and they have soccer games and they have responsibilities, they're not going to go home and spend 4 hours a night on social media anymore. They're going to spend one.
Minimum, yeah.
Yeah. So I am coming into learning more about this space in the last 2 to 3 years. Yep. And I'm adapting and I'm learning it. But the problem is you hire a young guy and then he thinks he's worth $100,000 a year to fucking post reels. And I'm like, I can't afford to pay you what a marketing director makes at a freaking small company. Like, and these kids now that are good and talented at this stuff, they know what they're worth and they want a shit ton because they all think they're the next social media influencer. And it's been hard for me. I've gone through 3 or 4 of them. And I can't seem to keep them.
The beautiful part is there's many different paths to success, right? So I wouldn't doubt in one instance that there couldn't be a brand new business that starts tomorrow that doesn't use any social media and can be tremendously successful. There is unbelievable amount of paths, and you should focus on your role in that business and your path with the one that you know and you feel good about and you're confident in. So, you know, it's not about that. I think just the point to go back, because I don't want to in any way confuse where I just kind of interrupted the conversation. It was to your point, Mike, that you said there's no way somebody new can come into this industry and disrupt somebody who's been there for so many years because you've put so much marketing efforts over those decades. And to my point was, I just, you know, I do feel that new companies disrupt existing companies all the time.
Okay.
You know?
So to go into that just a little bit further, to get to where my point of view is, to explain it just a little bit further. When you've taken a project manager at a glass company to play golf 12 times and you go to his kids, whatever, and this kid doesn't even take bids from anybody else and he's saying to a $30,000 job, he is not sending that job to anybody else because I've nurtured that relationship for 12 years. Okay. There are glass companies, there are interior decorators, there's architects. There's a lot of backdoor stuff that a new guy is not going to come in.
And sometimes what happens in those instances is you get a call as a newer company. Hey, can you give me a bid on a gas station window? We just replaced the glass. We need blackout and we need it quick. And the company that I've been using hasn't responded yet, or is super busy right now, or is booked out weeks, and we want to see if you can get it done. And you say, I can get it done today. I'll see you in a few. And they're so happy with your service that the next time they just need to get it done. So like I understand your example and you can paint that picture, but there's multiple variations of the reality of how that goes down. And like, that is one of the things, like look, in a successful, perfect business, that won't happen, right? Because you'll be able to get to that customer quickly, give them the attention you do. But often, you know, year 32, you're not able to get to that customer the same way you are, you know, 6 months into the business.
So to your point, Eric, I've lost jobs to some of the smaller guys in Charlotte because of that same thing. I need 2 windows done. My guy calls me and says, hey, Mike, I'm not even going to bother you with this shit. I'm going to give you this. The difference is the workman's comp. It's the insurance, the OSHA, the certifications, the lifts. A lot of the smaller guys don't have that kind of stuff. So the bigger projects come to us, and they come to us because they know that we do the safety reports, we do the OSHA reports, we do the workman's comp, we do the walkthrough, we have hard hats, we have shirts, we are insured, we can cash flow a $40,000-$50,000 job and wait for our check in 45-60 days. We can pay our staff, we can buy the film. Listen, I started small, I started mobile. There's tons of work out there for everyone. I don't ever worry about someone coming to my market and doing anything. If I'm doing everything right, I'm going to eat. If I do things wrong, I'm not. So I look at it like the smaller guys can eat a hamburger every single day. And you know what? Maybe a project manager leaves the company that I have a really good relationship and goes to the smaller class company, and then they build a relationship, and then he gets that relationship. It's happened to me. I've had guys leave me, go and start their own business, and they take a project manager, car dealerships, ideal manager at a car dealership, buddy of mine, whatever. He leaves Toyota, goes to Honda. Next thing you know, I'm tinting at Honda because we have a relationship. So what the key that I'll tell small businesses or any business, don't worry about everything you're doing. Worry about the relationship that can give you food forever. If you know someone's got influence over cars and they're going to be in the car business forever, take them to play lunch, take them to play golf, become friends with them, go over to their house, tint their window at their house for free. Do whatever you can do to stay in with that guy. He is like Google 2.0 for the rest of your life. You're going to eat off that guy forever. Send him a bottle of whiskey, send him some tequila, send him to play golf, send his wife and kids on vacation if you have to. If the guy sends me 50 grand or 20 grand worth of business, dude, 3 days, here's my MX, go freaking have a vacation on me. Gift baskets, whatever it takes to keep the relationship a win but that's, if I tell anybody, find somebody that can feed you forever.
Yeah. No, we got a lot of relationships like that too.
That's the key, man.
I agree, Mike. And I also agree with you, Eric. I mean, everything changes. The only constant in life is change. So everything's going to change. And the people that can get that mindset and understand that what we're doing today is great, but it's going to change. Something's going to come new. That, look at social media. I mean, we all got to learn social media now. And that wasn't the case 10, 12 years ago. There's no way we could have seen that coming.
I am so mad.
That's the point. Is you two are just perfect examples of that longevity and that pivoting, because neither of you are doing things today the same way you're doing them in the 80s.
Not at all.
So, it comes. And
I still have a mobile van that goes out and services. And he does great. I have a guy that's been with me since Light and Mike days, and he is amazing. His name's Maxim. I think you know him, Eric, Maxim, and he runs my mobile, and he's amazing. This guy's awesome. And he's like a son to me. I've known him since he was 16. I taught him the business. He went out on his own, didn't want to deal with the accounting and all the bull crap, so he came back to work with me. And we have a great relationship. I trust this guy with everything. And he gets in a van and he represents the company like it's his own. And awesome. And it's so invaluable. Like, people don't understand. You're not going to find another Maxim. I mean, he's that good.
Awesome.
So a lot of time growth happens within a business because of demand, right? You have so many people contacting you for tint, you need to hire another installer. You're so busy, you need to hire another salesperson to run consults and so on. Beyond demand pulling both of your businesses to grow, are there any things that you along the way had to put in place kind of proactively that opened the doors for the growth to kind of come in? Are there any windows you had to open where it wasn't just you reacting to more and more demand, but it was you saying, hey, this is something that we need to do for the better of our future, for the growth of our company and so on?
For me, it was technology. I mean, when the plotters first came out, 2 decades ago, we were apprehensive, and employees are like, whoa, you're going to replace me with a machine? No, you never do that, especially with the egos in some of these tinters. I mean, they're the best. You can't replace me with any machine. And, we had to battle that for a long while before we brought in our first, test plotting machine, and everybody was trying to make it fail. It fucks up film, and it's wasting more film than, so we had to push through that. And I think just having that foresight to see. I mean, as an owner, you're thinking, geez, man, you can have this machine, just cut it out, nest everything really close so there's not big pieces of film being wasted anymore, and cut an entire car in 4 seconds. Pretty much the whole car is just cut out instead of hand cutting every single window. I mean, as a business owner, you got to say that, you got to think, well, that has a lot of positives, and it can save a lot of money and time, which is, time is money. And if you can squeeze that cutting process down from, half hour to minutes, you can do more cars. Now it's just cleaning and applying. So to get that pushed through and get everybody on board, what we have to do is raise the pay for just installing instead of cutting and installing. We did that.
One thing I'm going to get to your point, Eric, is if you're a small business, and what I consider small, 1 to 3 employees, okay, 1 to 5, the number one thing you need to do before you even think about growing at all, looking back, because I think you said, Eric, if looking back, what was some of the things that you learned, right?
Some of the things that you had to maybe proactively put in place, doors that you had to open, because it wasn't just demand kind of telling you what you needed next for your business. It was you seeing something or having to do something proactively. Okay, so first of all, check your finances, because you can't grow and hire people if you don't have the money to do it. So either get a credit line at the bank and go, hey, I'm going to go get a $50,000 credit line, and I'm going to go, you know what, I'm going to use that credit line for salesperson A, or I'm going to. So is there like an instance when you're looking back at Sunstoppers where you kind of said, hey, I've got to turn the ship, and today is the day I'm going to start looking at my.
I need a new van.
What was that like? When was that? Kind of paint the picture around it.
When I was fucking broke. I honestly, what happens is I have many employees. I have a couple of stores. My accounts receivables, 50 grand a month, 60 grand a month for car dealerships. I'm cash flowing 100 grand a month in payroll versus input. I would get a fucking accountant, get someone to tell you how much money you have, because you think you have money when you get checks in the bank. And then 2 weeks later, you're freaking broke, and you cannot grow the amount of income business. The amount you're doing, so much advertising, you got so many calls, blah, blah. You're chasing your tail. It's the net income. Find the sweet spot of your business. How many sales guys do you really need? How many installers do you really need? And where's your maximum profit margin? And maximize that team for 1 year and go, let's redline the car and let's see where the red line is, and go, okay, instead of blowing the car, we need to add a turbo here. And that turbo might be somebody running the plotter, running the cars in and out, prepping them. How can we get 2 more cars a day out of the shop? How can we get more efficient? People look at the big picture, because now, Eric, and I'm going to give you to the point, in the last 1 to 3 years, maybe 4, social media has become the attractive person that people are putting lights, floors, everything on credit cards. And they're trying, and I'm not saying trying. It's like seeing a shiny object and thinking they want that shiny object. And they're like, oh, I want to be like that shop. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And the guy's going to go buy $5,000 worth of stuff, or $8,000, or just whatever amount of money on his credit card. Then they have a bad month. And then they hired his buddy because they were in June and it was busy as shit. Nobody could answer the phone, or he hired his girlfriend. Know your money. How much money do you have in the bank? How good's your credit? And can get a credit line and use it in a business plan. So, you do a business plan when you start a business, Eric, like, hey, I'm going to do a business plan. This is what I'm doing. I really do think every year at the end of the year in December, sit down with someone who's smart, who's ran a business for years, and do a new business plan for the next year, and get outside help. Don't talk to anybody but yourself. Listen to yourself, but also get some input from people who have done it longer than you, and go, hey man, I'm thinking about growing. I'm thinking about getting my second shop. Okay, let's find every reason in the world not to do it. And then let's find every reason in the world to do it. And let's see where we're at and how much money it's going to cost. Let's do projected sales. Let's do projected this. When you open your second shop, Tommy, what did you do?
I did go to the bank, did get a loan, and the cash flow of the first shop wouldn't fund the second shop, not enough. So you got to get some money to boost it to get your first and last rent in there, and you can have your renovations and put in your phones, your computers, and all that stuff, your displays, paint, floors, all that stuff costs a lot of money. And to have the other shop funded, it was not possible. So you have to go to the bank, get a loan, or if you have the assets, dump more money in the company. I did that one time too. I took some money and just dumped it back in the company, loan from stockholder, and eventually got paid back on that. So you can do it multiple ways.
How scared were you when you did your second shop? Scared to death.
My wife thought I was a maniac. If your wife doesn't think you're a maniac, you're not doing it right. You should see when we moved into our biggest flagship store. It's 17,000 square feet right now near the airport on Oahu. We walked in there, and it just echoed. It was so huge. And my wife was like, "What are you going to do with all of this space?" I said, "We're going to tint a lot of cars and do some PPF in here." And she's like, "It's too big." And now we're outgrown it. So it's just having a vision and just get it done, just do it.
How did you find someone to replace you in the first store? Did you bounce back and forth to the second store?
He's actually still there, and he's my CEO now. Kyle Horimoto, he's our CEO. He's been with me 27, 28 years now. Hired him when he was 18, and he ran my front desk for the auto side, and then he was into sales, and then he got into production, and he created and started our deco and graphics division, and now he's our CFO. And so that, having somebody that was just committed and wanting to learn everything gave me time to, branch out and do other things. So,
did you ever get burned out, Tommy? Did you ever get burned out and you were just like, fuck, you were like, screw this shit, I'm sick of this?
You know what manapua is?
What?
You know what manapua is? It's a little pork bun. So manapua trucks would come by our house and just sell you manapua, and as kids you would chase the manapua truck. There are many times when I come home from my wife, like, shit, I'm gonna sell everything and just buy a manapua truck.
I thought I was going to go sell cars again. I was ready to, after I literally was waiting on money. I was stressed out going through 6 batteries a day on like one of those like Motorola batteries that,
Oh, easy. Yeah.
I would come home so stressed out, so tired. I didn't eat all day, and I was working 6 days a week. Sundays was the only day I shut it off. And even on Sundays, I was still scheduling work for Monday.
We worked 7 days for about 12 years.
That's crazy.
Yeah, we had 3 shops. One was in a Costco parking lot in Salt Lake on Oahu.
What was in, say, 1995 to 2000, you had one store, right?
No, we had 3 stores at that time.
How long did it take for you to go from your first store? How many years did you run one store before you opened your second?
About 5.
Okay, 5 years. That's a good number.
About 5 years.
Do you think that's the right amount of time? Like, if you were to give advice to some of the younger guys?
It really depends on your market and what that will bear. And you don't want to have one store stealing from the other store, because then you got 2 overheads with the same volume. So Oahu is pretty unique. So there's people don't come from the windward side over to downtown, and there's so much traffic in downtown Honolulu. There's room for 2 shops because nobody wants to go through the traffic to get to the other one. So we had 3 stores on 3 points in the island, and we didn't. Every time we added a store, we added revenue. The other store didn't, and we checked the zip codes on our customers on where they were going to, and they didn't cross over and go to the other one. So it worked for us, but like I said, you got to do your research, and you want to make sure you're not overlapping customers into your 2 stores. Then you got 2 overheads, 2 managers, 2 sets of inventory, 2 sets of phones and computers and all the hardware. And so it really depends on where you are and your all of your demographics around you.
Both of your companies are very, in my opinion, loyal and tied to their film manufacturer. I feel like both Mike and Tommy, both of your companies, Tommy in your case, Eastman, Formula One, Vista, and Mike in your case, Expel, they're part of your business. I feel like they're super ingrained into your business, and you've been very loyal to both of those brands respectively.
Yes.
My question would be to people who may be newer into the business and they don't have that many years with a specific manufacturer, and maybe they've been through a couple beginner kind of brands or whatever, past their brands and so on, and maybe at this point they're looking, can I increase my margins with this cheaper film, lower price film, because I'm going to, save money? Like, what's the difference if I go with this brand or that brand? At the end of the day, I'm the one selling the film in my shop, I'm the one installing it. What would you share looking back, and part of the reasons why you've been so loyal and so on, and continue to be so with these brands? Both have tremendous volume, and you could continue to try and leverage that for better and better discounts, and potentially even make your own film or whatnot, and have private label runs. What has kept you with those both large brands and for such a long time? And so putting them, I would say, on the forefront of your business.
For us, I've tried a lot of brands in the beginning. And even as we've been loyal to Lumar, we've tried other brands, especially if there's a product that comes out that Lumar doesn't carry. We definitely want to try it, see what it is. Coolview, for example, pretty, transitional films was pretty groundbreaking when that came out. So, I mean, for younger startup companies, 1 to 5 years, and you're trying different things, just see what works. I mean, it's going to be different for everybody in different areas and at different, levels of business, but see what works, see what kind of support you can get. That was the really deciding factor for us, is all along the way, even though, Eastman now, but it was Solution before, and CP Film before that, and Cortals before that, and Martin Processing before that. I mean, we dealt with all the different ownerships of Lumar, and I think Eastman's really got it down now. But all along the way, their whole thing was to support their dealers. So we'd ask, find out what your manufacturer is going to offer, and just ask, see what they'll do, help you with. I mean, they help us with training in our shops, certifications in our shops. They come down and do lunch and learns for us with architects. They come down and work expos with you, a 3-day expo, 5-day expo, 1-day expo. They come down and sit in the booth and work with you, and help promote you. And then when you're in an expo for new products or home improvement show, and you're Joe Blows from Joe Blows Tinting, and I got my Lumar rep here from the manufacturer, it gives you more credibility. And that's what we've received for 42 years from Lumar. They've always responded and helped us design our shops, helped us with displays, helped us with color schemes, and all the different things that we made our shops look like a franchise, but we're not. So those things are big. And when people walk into the shop and they see everything branded the way it is, and they see it on social media, they see it on TV commercials, they see it when they Google something, and it all matches when they walk in, like, wow, that's those guys. Expel's doing a really good job with that too. So for us, it was just that level of commitment that the manufacturer had to support us, and they saw us grow because of it. And I took full advantage of every single thing they offered. Co-op, use every single penny, every month, every year. I've never had a year end with co-op being wasted, ever. Use the co-op. It's there.
If I'm going to answer
real quick, Tommy, could you quickly just explain what the co-op is for people who maybe their brand doesn't offer a co-op or they're not sure?
Co-op is a bank of money that the manufacturer will give you to use to pay for your website development, to pay for SEO, to pay for social media, to pay for an expo booth. So
what, Tommy, going into Eric a little bit more deeper, if you're a shop that's fairly new, co-op money is like 2 to 3 or 5% of your gross sales of what you buy in product from them. They give you a rebate. It's like a credit card. So if you go and say, hey, I'm getting cash back of 2%. Where's just what? I'm sure you have something negotiated with Lumar. You don't need to discuss that. That's between you and them.
Well, everybody gets the same. It's a 10% this, or they pay 100% of this, 50% of this. So if you when we buy a booth for an expo and it's a $3,000 booth, we submit it, we get 50% of that back, $1,500.
Right.
So it's a lot of money. You know, we get anywhere from $60,000 to $80,000 a year in co-op money. Use it. You know, I mean, we buy a lot.
If you're a smaller store and you're just a Lumar store and you're just starting out, do they do that for the smaller stores as well, or is it just the Formula One?
No, it's across the board. Formula One, Vista gets better, of course, than Lumar.
But it's across the board, and you can spend the co-op money in, like, they'll give you a percentage back, and you can use it towards like marketing material and anything from Connect to Eastman. And then if you have like Google Ads or any sort of ads, as long as they specifically mention like Lumar or their products, those will go towards co-op as well. So it's a pretty flexible program, in my opinion, because it's not just a percentage back on your purchases. It's reimbursement for things like partial reimbursements, depending on what it is, but for vehicle wraps and anything, as long as you're including their brand co-branded with you, their brand has to be part of it, which totally makes sense.
So that kind of support has been very strong with Lumar from day one. So I didn't see any reason to go. And every time we looked at other films, they couldn't commit to doing anything close to what Lumar was doing for us over the years. So every time somebody had a new film, you know, it's like, we're going to look at it, we're going to try it. I mean, if it's something Lumar doesn't have, maybe we'll enter it into our product line. But as soon as Lumar has it, we'll drop that and we'll stay with Lumar. I'm going to be loyal to them as much as they've been loyal to us, kind of a thing. So, I mean, find a good partnership. Find any manufacturer that will give you what you need to grow your business.
Mike, what about you? You've been loyal with XPEL for quite a while, and you wear them proudly on, you know, if you see Sunstoppers, you see XPEL. You don't really see one without the other. Give me some insight to why that relationship is so strong when you obviously have a ton of buying power.
I was very loyal to Eastman and Suntech for years. When I was Lightning Mike's, I was Johnson Window Films, I think, biggest buyer. I don't even know. Maybe they told me I was, maybe I wasn't. But I was doing a lot of volume early on in the days between 96 and 2005. I was buying a shit ton of Johnson Window Films. I was 90 to 95% automotive. At the time, Steve Phillips was with Lumar or Courtaulds or CP Films, and he went and with a team of people and developed Suntech. My father worked in the film laminations background and knew Steve, and they worked together at Rexam Corporation here in Matthews. And people reached out to me, and when I found Steve was in charge of Suntech, and they were doing factory direct film with not really a lot of sales reps or a lot of, they kept the price down and they kept the product good. And I switched from Johnson to Suntech due to the fact that Johnson really started, I don't know what year it was, started really bubbling back windows. They started having hazing. They really had some manufacturing defects in their film. And I'm sure they've corrected that by now, but it was a period of about a year, maybe a year and a half, where I was like, I'd put a film on and it'd be like a couple of months and it'd be like ghosty. And then the film would be delamitating in the back. And I was just like, man, I cannot have all these warranties coming back to me. And so I switched to Suntech and I became loyal to them. And they were really, really pissed off when I went to XPEL. And I mean, they were mad. I mean, they flew everybody in. I don't even know how many people they were doing everything in their power, dropping price, dropping everything. And what happened to me, to answer your question, to get to the background, I'm just trying to go give you a backstory. Mainly
like the loyalty part. Like, why do you feel the need to maybe, you don't just advertise your brand, you put your film manufacturer next to it, and you don't bounce around year after year. You stick with the brand for a long time.
We're married. So XPEL and Sunstoppers is a marriage, and I don't ever see a divorce. And I didn't get married to get divorced. And going back to the loyalty of XPEL, I feel, okay, this is just me personally. When you date Eastman, you're dating everyone. And 4, 5, 6 years ago, there was a shop at a gas station carrying Suntech, carrying Luma. And he just became watered down. I just felt like there was no identity to the Eastman buying Suntech. And when they did that, there was a war between Lumar and Suntech. I was on the Suntech fighting side. It was like the South versus the North. And now you want me to join the North? It's like, I've been fighting all these years against the North, and now you want me to join their team? Like, come on, man. So honestly, XPEL came out of nowhere, and we were growing the PPF side, and they had just invited me to a dealer conference. I have never been to any kind of conference or anything other than SEMA for Eastman. And when I saw Lumar and Suntech in the same booth, I was like, it's not for me anymore, man. And then when I saw how much XPEL wanted me, they ran the red carpet out for me. We did a Guinness World Record together. The CEO I walked up to and talked to Ryan and said, Ryan, I want a Guinness World Record. He looked, and 3 seconds later said, whatever it takes, let's do it. And they gave me all the resources. They started doing videos for me. They started marketing me. They started helping me. They started coaching me. Chris Hardy and I became like best friends. Next thing you know, we're traveling together. Next thing you know, we're growing together. Next thing you know, I was part of the fucking team. And I felt part of the team.
Yeah.
Perfect. So then and this question, I guess, Mike, I'd love to hear from you first, but Tommy, if you feel it applies, I'd love to hear it as well. It may or may not apply. If there was, it applies, it definitely could apply. If there was somebody right now saying, you know, I'm an XPEL dealer and I don't feel that sort of connection, or they're saying, well, because, you know, Tommy, your point was really more around that co-op, which everybody has access to. So, Mike, if somebody's saying, I don't really feel I have that connection, Mike, that you're talking about, is there anything that you think they could focus on within their control to get on that radar? Like, is it get my purchases up? Is it network with, you know, my territory rep? Is it attend the dealer conferences? Like, what are those things that help put you in a position to where you're getting that sort of service? Because not to be judgmental, and I could be completely wrong, but I feel like there's probably 800 or 1,000 or 2,000 dealers, and I doubt everyone's getting that same attention you're talking about.
This is fair. Okay, if you're a mother and a father and have 6 kids or 10 kids, do you think every kid gets the same attention? I don't think, if you have 10 kids, because my girlfriend Audrey came, she's the oldest of 10 kids. She's the oldest of 10 kids. She's been changing diapers and raising her younger siblings, not raising them, but she did not get the attention, but more than 3 years when she was 1 to 3. Okay. I feel that when you're older and you have parents, right? I'm just only using this as an analogy, and I'm kind of going down this. When you have 10 kids, you only have so much bandwidth as a mother and a father. You're not going to give the same love, even though you love them all the same. It's hard to give the attention to all 10 at the same time. So what happens is the crying babies get more attention. So only thing I'm going to say, cry more, cry more.
I feel like you're going to be getting some angry text messages right now.
I'm only saying that as a joke, but the problem is
wheel gets oil. Like, that's the
listen,
idea.
if you've got a problem, if you can't, it's like this in a relationship, Eric. If you have a friend that said something to you or did something to you, and you keep it internally, and you go home, you keep it in for 2 or 3 months, and then you go and you're pissed off at this guy, he didn't know. If you would have brought it up right then and there and be like, hey, bro, I don't really appreciate it. Let's squash this. Let's get it out of the open. Let's hug. Let's kiss. Let's go back down the road. People keep things in, and then they voice their opinion on social media. We're a hide society now. I feel like we hide and say what we want on the keyboard, and then we turn around and go, oh, I have a voice. No, you have a voice. It's called a phone. Pick it up. Hey, bro, what's up, man? I got a little problem. How do I get some more service right here? Can I get a free fucking roll of film? Can I get somebody to come down here and train my tenors? Pick up the phone and talk to people like regular people. Yeah. That's really, I feel like we've lost in the last 2 or 3 years. I feel like we're losing that.
I think the manufacturers invested in you, Mike, and me, because they saw the potential. They saw that we were eager. They saw that we, you know, if they see us trying to help ourselves, they're going to try and help. But if you sit there and want them to do everything, they're not going to help. And I think
meet me halfway. If in a relationship, if my girlfriend makes the bed, next thing you know, she went to the grocery store and had my favorite whatever in the grocery store, I'm gonna say thank you. Oh my God. The next thing you know, I'm gonna do something nice for her. It's a give and take. All relationships is a give and take.
I hear a lot of dealers saying, "Yeah, they don't do that for me." But what are you doing for yourself? What's your plans? Share your plans with them. Talk to them about what you want to do. And can you help me get here? I want to do this next year. What can you do?
So to answer your question a little bit more, Eric, if you're an automotive only tint shop and you say, hey, I want to get into PPF, or hey, I want to get into flat glass, or I want to get into coatings, that is music to these manufacturers' ears, because it's another revenue source that they weren't getting out of you. If you turn around and say, hey, I'm going to hire a ceramic coater and we're going to start doing ceramic coating. Can you help me with ceramic coating? Can you send me a starter kit? Can I send one of my guys down to training? And now they're doing money on Google ads. They know they're spending money on Facebook. They know they're keeping their website up to date. Keep your website up to date. Keep your content current. Promote yourself. And then the manufacturers will look at you as attractive. And if you're attractive, they're going to court you.
Yeah, if you're a pro, be a pro in everything you do, man.
Be attractive.
Yeah.
If you got a beard and you wear dirty clothes and you don't give a shit, I'm not saying beard in a bad way. I'm just saying you got shit.
You definitely just said beard in a bad way.
I know.
I'm 100% said beard in a bad way. You're like, if you have a beard, if you're dirty,
I'm following. I'm going to Mike's barber now.
I love it. It's so great.
Hey, it looks good.
I'm jealous of everybody that has facial hair. I hate it.
Okay, so what I heard from both of you is, make sure you're the one starting that fire. That fire's got to be burning. You have to grow it. And as that fire is growing, then you can kind of communicate with your manufacturer and be open to hearing what you can do better. And also, communicating what you think they could do better for you or where they can help you out. And that's going to build that, but you're not going to get it by probably just complaining online. Like, that's for sure not going to help.
50% of the window tinting shops out there, I know how much film people buy. I have I know I talk to people. I know what people buy in film, right? And I know how much film it takes to do a certain amount of sales with each employee. I have those metrics, okay? I have those data. I have data, okay, this tinter can do this is how many sales, this shop's this big. I know how much volume you can do, and I have it all modeled. These people want to see growth. It's like every relationship. They just want to see growth. If you can plant, like I said, get a business coach or some type of person to talk to every year and do a new business plan every year for your business. In December, let's sit around for a week, talk to some people. Let's put projections together of what we're going to do next year. Share those projections with the manufacturer, and the manufacturer will get on board with helping you.
Yeah.
Tommy, did you have anyone that you felt helped mentor you through some of these decades that you've grown your business, whether in the industry or outside of the industry? Like, where did you look for mentors, or who did you lean on?
I bumped into a consultant who helped me a lot. His name is Bernard Bonner, BDI, Business Development International. He came in right when we were growing, about a year after I opened the Costco shopping center store. So we had Sand Island, Costco, and then Kaneohe. So we had 3 stores. The Costco one was our biggest one at the time. It was 8,000 square feet, and I had tenants of mine. I had the master lease on the property, and we had car washing, we had detail shop, we had auto stereo, we had rims and tires, we had oil change, all in one building. And that was a huge jump. And we went from a shop or 2 shops, doing about $1 million a year, profiting about, $250,000 a year, and going to this bigger shop where we doubled our revenue to $2 million a year, but we were losing $250,000 a year. We got so big and we had so many things going on. We were just miscommunicating. It was a mess. So I hired Bernard. He came in and looked at everything. He said, "Yeah, I heard of TNT. You guys are jamming. You guys are growing crazy." And I said, "Yeah, but I'm losing my ass. I need help. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. We're making more money, but the bottom line, it ain't happening." Looked at everything. He came back and said that we need to get organized, and we need to create. The org board is the first thing we put up, was an organizational chart, and that organized everybody, trained everybody on the organizational chart so that everybody knew where they were, what they're supposed to do, who they report to, how orders flow, what everybody's responsible for producing for the whole company. And we did that. And then the hardest part of the process was documenting every single thing we do. Everybody's job description was written down, agreed upon, and signed off. Everything we do, from opening the shop to employee parking to cleaning the bathrooms in the front desk area, prepping a car, picking a car up from the dealership and dropping it off. Every single thing we did was written down from A to Z. And we train using that. And we can duplicate the same result using the same source for training, because we had to implement all that. So we did all of that. It was painful, expensive, and so much work to document all that stuff. When you tell people, I want you, Mike, to write down everything you did to tint that window. What? I got to tint another window. Well, before you do that, you're going to have to write this down. We need help. Everybody had to help. It was a big project. Took about a year or two to just get that information in. And we used it. As we were compiling it, we were using it. And we saw our numbers getting better and better and better, and more money falling to the bottom line. As communication got better, our biggest problem with communication, lack of accountability. I thought you were going to do that. No, I thought you were going to do that. Everybody was doing this. So when we got to the point where everybody understood the system, it really started working, because when I'm talking to you, Mike, it's a one path of communication. Now it's me, Eric, and Mike. So now we have like 6 possible paths of communication. You hire 4 people. It's not 4 times more difficult to communicate. It's 16 times more complicated to have clear communication, because there's so many different paths. So we clean all that up, and now it's part of our business. It's a living, breathing. Our manuals are very detailed. They get updated and changed as some new product comes in, or we stop doing this, or we use Mike's idea. Hey, Mike said if we did this, this, and this, it would save us 3 minutes on every single car. Okay, let's try that. We try it, it works. Okay, we're going to update that policy. We grab it, we update it, we rehat everybody on it, retrain everybody, and everybody signs off. I got it. We're doing it Mike's way now. We're doing it Mike's way now. And that's a constant evolution of our processes every day. Best processes get done every day. It's just amazing what that has done for our company. It wasn't cheap. It wasn't easy. And it's an ongoing thing we've been doing it now for about 20 years.
How many employees do you have now?
32.
Wow.
And your gross revenue is what, 4 million?
Almost 5. Yeah, 4.8 last year.
Yep.
Yeah, we're down to 2 locations. We got rid of one, and
I just closed one. I've been in that building 25 years and tried to buy the building 10 times, and they just sold it to a developer, and they're tearing it down.
Wow.
Which actually is working in my favor, because I just moved some people around, and I moved the marketing dollars to another store, and that store is seeing a 30-40% jump. Yeah, and now so what you just said earlier, okay, gross revenue, net profit minus this, right? So as gross revenue went up, profits went down, right? So I am now really focused, like hyper focused on the bottom line, not the gross. You'll go, oh, Mike, you're doing $10 million in sales. Bro. I'm going to get back down to 8 or 7, and I'm going to net 40%, 20% more.
Exactly. Yeah. So, and that's another thing. Hire good accountants, hire good CPAs, hire good attorneys, just do what you do best. Do what you do best. You got to delegate. You got to get that stuff.
Hire. The thing is, what happens, Tommy, is I battle this still to this day. Okay. Things are expensive. Like paying an accountant, you're like, I paid you $4,000 for what? Like, to show me some numbers. But those numbers saved me thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars. And that's what's going on. So, Eric, a lot of my advice to smaller operations is pay for the pain. Pay for the pain. And then what happens is it relinquishes the pain. You got to pay for it up front. You got to pay for the pain. And the thing is, these guys don't see the investment long term. Everything is TikTok, Instagram, Snapchat. Everything's instant gratification. So they don't see
What
a
are
year
you
from
talking
now.
about though? When you kind of narrow down, like when we're talking about the industry, you kind of then like we go broad and you go real narrow to like two people that you're talking about that are like neglecting their business,
Okay.
recklessly buying lights for their ceiling and only focused on TikTok. Like who are these fucking schmucks that you're talking about?
So here's
Most people are running a great business and they're putting lights on their business for the same reason you put lights on yours, because you know the effect it has when somebody looks at them both in person and in pictures for marketing. So
I
like,
agree.
if you don't have the money, of course, but like,
so what happens
who are
is,
we talking about, you know?
I understand where
Anyway,
you're
sorry,
going.
go ahead.
No, it's not a dig on anyone. I'm only basically saying that we're a very ADD world. We're a instant gratification where a commercial comes on, you have 3 seconds of attention span.
Look, it's a faster moving world, but hasn't it continued to be a faster moving world for as long as anybody has record of or can remember? It's always moving faster and faster. It's not some sort of like we're an ADD like disabled society. I get like we don't have to get into diagnosis and all that, and I know it's I'm just saying it's not doom and gloom. Yes, things are getting faster, but I think what I'm hearing from both of you is, you know, put the right systems in place, take the time, put the money behind documenting those systems and processes so that you can then move forward the right way. Pay an accountant to make sure your business is set up. Make sure if you're an S Corp, if you need to be an S Corp, make sure you're taking the deductions that you should be taking, not ones you shouldn't be taking, and not missing ones you should be taking, and paying for that expertise as opposed to just pushing it off for the future, because the future, it kind of only grows, that problem only kind of grows. And as you scale, that's what ends up potentially eating up your profit margin, are all those inefficiencies that you didn't have in place to be ready to scale, right? I mean,
so what I was basically trying to get to in a funny way is the attention span of social media has limited people to stay focused on paying accountants and paying to do the back end stuff that you need to do. Listen,
I know what you're saying, Mike. I know what you're saying, because I talked to some dealers that they don't even do their books monthly.
If you ask somebody to read a P&L,
that's always existed, hasn't it?
But I'm saying, you asked me the secret.
Businesses that just neglect their books, like they just paper, they do whatever, they don't do their books at the end of the day, they don't file taxes.
I think the easiest way to explain this, Eric, get a piece of paper down and write down what you value in your business. Is it sales? If you just want to sell, keep selling. But if you want to have an organization and you want to have structure and you want to have a salesperson and you want to have an installer, you need to have a manual. You need to have a process. And I think what I am trying to say in a way I'm just theatrical a lot of times when I talk, but have a process that works for you. Your process is not always right for everyone else. I just coach and I do business coaching to a lot of window tinting shops, Eric. And a lot of these guys that I have consulted are asking for consulting advice for X. When we got to redo the dry board and go, no, we got to go all the way back to A. And they're putting priorities in place where they shouldn't be putting priorities.
That's why they need the coaching.
It's okay. So when I make examples of lights and I make examples of things, if you don't have an accountant and understand how to read a P&L, hire that person first, get a sales process first, get someone to answer the phone outside of the owner, get that first, pay the people for the processes to put in place, then buy the lights. It's the marketing they put first to project the image of their business. And then they get busy, and then they're one or two people, and then they don't know what to do. And they're like, oh, I don't know what to do. And they're like in a state of panic. And I'm like,
they got the step like ladder on the ladder 3. Then they call you, they get advice. You help them to get to ladder 8, ring on the ladder, and you move up. I get what you're saying.
We got to go back to 1. We got to go back to level 1 is all I'm saying.
So like from day 1, you know, when you're setting up your shop, I'm just saying, like, if you need lights, you need lights. Like, you're not going to be like, I'm going to go like, I mean, you need somebody to your books, but like you're probably not going to study a P&L that doesn't exist yet. You need to just get some customers in a space, get some money in, spend. You have very little expenses, right? You're buying film, selling to the customer. You understand that, and then at some point you take that next step, and you have to turn that over to somebody for taxes. They're like, hey, we should do this monthly. Get a bookkeeper, and it's a process, right?
Yeah. And it depends on your size. Like you say, if you're small and just starting up, then you don't need an accountant yet.
No. I'm talking the 5-year guys. I'm talking right there when you've hit your plateau and you hit your ceiling. And then I'm coming too. And then I'm sitting there going, why did you buy this, and this when you needed this? Like, I just ask questions. I'm like, what, that's all I'm saying, Eric, is like they remodel and they do things.
Mike, you gotta remember, we're all tinters that became entrepreneurs and business people. We're tinters.
I understand, man. I get it.
We have to learn the hard way. None of us went to college for business. We learned this stuff, School of Hard Knocks.
I have a marketing degree from college. So
you do?
Yes.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I didn't go to college. My school.
My dad was an accountant, and I've been doing numbers since I was 12. My dad financed my very first bicycle to me, and I knew a spreadsheet when I was 13.
Wow.
So this is why I'm different than most people.
But you said that you ended up like broke at some point and had to focus on your books at like middle of your business. So it wasn't like you went into day one with your 12-year-old's knowledge. Like it's kind of I feel like you might be putting people in like a confused scenario where they're at in this storyline.
Helping them through my mistakes, man. I made a lot of mistakes.
What I'm saying is like you're saying I knew a P&L by 12, but then on the second, on the same token, 45 minutes ago, we're saying there was a down point in your business where you were broke. It was because you didn't understand your numbers. So
I understand my numbers. I put sales before the numbers. So what happens is that I went after the dealerships and I went after getting the business. I did not pay any attention to collections and receivables. And I said, holy shit, I got to go get a loan to make payroll. I'm like, holy cow.
That's a real thing, right? As you grow, your collectibles potentially, if you're not focused on them, will grow, and then that money.
That's what I'm talking about, Eric. I had that problem. It wasn't that I didn't know how to read the P&L. I didn't understand my business. Didn't understand my model. It's the fact that I grew too fast, too quick. And then when I grew too fast, too quick, I started taking on more business. And then when I took on more business, I took on more debt. And then it was me chasing freaking money to make damn payroll. I'm like, what?
I think something that a lot of people probably face, I feel like through kind of on a yearly basis is, during the busiest time of the year, they try to structure their business to capitalize on that peak month. And you say like, I need a bigger space because that peak month, I couldn't handle all the business. I need more people because that peak month, I couldn't handle the business. But really it is about looking at that year because you're in business for 12 months and that those expenses have to make sense over that 12 months, not at some peak that doesn't happen for the rest of the year. And then when you realize you shot at the wrong peak, what you're saying, Mike, I think is a very real thing. You spend marketing dollars to chase revenue to try and just bring it up so that you can cover your overhead. And then before you know it, you go, I'm making the least amount of money I've ever made. My company's the biggest. You can't stand when people congratulate you because you kind of feel like it's not real. And you start to reorganize, right?
It happened to me, Eric. It happened to me. I looked bigger. I was doing all this gross revenue, but at the end of the day, I wasn't making any money.
Yeah. So because I mean, I don't want to take we're getting near 90-minute mark. Speaking of you weren't happy, when you think back through the burnouts and kind of recovery from the burnouts, is there any advice you would give to somebody that's, way earlier on their path to maintain some sort of balance, maybe for their personal relationships, for their mental stability, for the sake of their staff, for their own business and so on? What kind of worked for you both to get you all the way here with a sane mind and a smile on your face?
I don't know if I have a sane mind or a smile on my face. I fake it really well.
Everyone's smiling right now.
It's because we're old and broken.
Well, I'm old, but I'm not broken. I'm enjoying it.
Tommy, you're paddleboarding miles and miles.
I know,
I mean, anybody who hasn't seen that, that's
you got to take care of your health. Take care of your health, number one, man. When you get to, I mean, as soon as you're out of your 20s, you can start feeling in your 30s, 40s, and 50s and 60s. So take care of your health and just plan things. I mean, you're gonna do stuff off the cuff, but look at like Eric said, the year. You got to plan the years out. Look forward, project your years, grow. But when you grow, try to grow smart. I hire professionals to do stuff that I can't do. And you don't want to do. I mean, you want to be working on your business, not in your business every single day.
That's
And
number one.
I stopped tinting, I would say about 25 years ago. I haven't touched film and installed something in 25 years because I'm running the business. I'm creating, marketing and looking at locations and dealing with, dealerships and doing sales for hotels and hospitals and security film jobs, and just trying to keep business, volume coming in, as well as keeping everything organized, keeping everybody trained, making sure everybody's doing their jobs the way we need it done, and nobody's stopping any processes that work. That's one of my mantras at work, is never ever stop something that works. You do not have the authority to change a process that has been working and is making us money. It's easier to do it this way. Yeah, but then you get a different result. And the customer doesn't like that result. And they stop coming. They stop calling. So just, get organized, write down your processes.
Here's the thing. Have fun, man. And work around people you enjoy to work with. If you go to work and you can play whatever music and you're laughing and you're joking and you're high-fiving, make it a clubhouse a little bit. Make it fun. If you're still having fun, it ain't work. I love to tint windows. I will tint windows for free half the time. I'll just go with my son and tint windows with his, like at 10 o'clock at night. He's over there. He's, hey, Dad, you want to come help me do this truck? I'm like, all right. Yep. He's 20 years old. He's having fun. He's got his buddies coming in after hours. I'm tinting a freaking old ass F-250 with sliding back window that literally has rubber that's dry rotted out. And he's like, Dad, can you help me hand cut this back window? The plotter just doesn't fit. How do you get it in there? They got to trim it out. It's like he's asking me for all my old school techniques, and I love it. I'm having fun, man. Like, honestly, when my son is now evolving as a window tinter through Sunstoppers, I'm so fucking proud. I'm just proud of it.
Can you imagine?
So the thing is, the number one secret, keep it fun. When you're not having fun, stop, take a break. I never took a vacation for 10 years, man. I ran my first Lightning mics. I worked all the time. I never took a vacation. I should have recharged my batteries. I should have taken some time off. I put money and the commitment to my employees first. I work for my employees. I don't work for myself. I work for them, because they're the people that keep the lights on. They're the people that keep everything happening. And I feel a sense of responsibility to them. And if I'm out partying and I'm out drinking and I'm out drunk and somebody's taking me home, or I'm making bad decisions, they're going to go, that's your leader? That's the guy you work for? That is never going to happen. I want people to look at Mike and go, hey, Mike drinks a little whiskey here and there, but I've never seen him make really bad decisions, right? And that's to me honorable. I want to work for somebody, or I want people to work for somebody that they feel like they can respect, to make good decisions on their behalf.
You're a good leader. You lead by example.
Well, my guys never have to worry about a paycheck. Like, I will never get paid before them. They get paid before me. If I have to collect money, I pay all my guys. I've never bounced a check in all of my career. I've not bounced one check. I've never not paid anybody. I pay people what I owe them. And I if you leave me and you don't like me and you think I'm a jerk or an asshole or extra or whatever the hell you want to say, you can never say I didn't pay you. And you can never say I fucked you over.
Yeah. Same way. I paid my employees before me for months.
To me now, Eric, I'm telling guys, you don't need the huge shops. You need efficient shops. You need shops that are efficient. And it's not the sexy girl on Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok. And I'm only using the platforms because people watch what other people are doing and they think that's sexy, but they don't realize the guy's got 10 years experience. He's got 3 dealerships down the street. He's doing the Ferrari dealership. He's doing the Porsche dealership, and he's got connections, and he's not doing a ton of marketing. He's got relationships he's built for years. So he has a big shop, and he has all these micro different parts are going on with PPF. PPF's a different world than tint. You have a lot more space. You have a lot more cars that need to be in there. You need the space. If you're going to stay in the tint world, stay efficient, do some PPF. If you're going to be a PPF ceramic coating shop, do a little bit of tint. So you got to balance your business model. That's all I've tried to do is tell people, where's your balance? Would you want to be more PPF coatings? You want to be more tint? You know, where your comfort zone is.
Shout out to David Chuckman. If you haven't watched The Day in the Life of, he's been doing well over 100 episodes, one a week. He hasn't missed a week in over 2 years. And he's somebody that came to mind, Mike, when you were talking, just because he recently moved into a shop that he
I know
purchased.
David
He
very well.
renovated it.
Yeah,
No,
I've
I know.
been
I'm
to
just
it.
telling for people who don't know who he
Yeah,
is.
yeah.
And
No, he's a
he's
great
an
guy.
Excel dealer, and
Nice
he
guy.
has a shop that's just unbelievably beautiful and so on. And he does these vlogs every week, and he talks about the dealership accounts, and you're watching the installers, and you're hearing the feedback from them. It's them on video more than it is him. So, you know, there are also resources, to your point, to where you can get a better understanding of how these businesses work, because of people like David putting out that sort of content. So
He's got 20 years in the business. He didn't start out doing it this way. Like, he had a shop, he did mobile. He just bought a building and moved in. I'm so proud of him. He's literally 45 minutes away from me in Keller. He's a great guy. He's a good guy. He treats his guys well.
big team.
There's nothing but good things. There's nothing but good things to say about what he does. And he's inspired me. I probably inspired him. That's the thing. When I see people doing it right, I'm like, he's doing it right. I need to pay attention to what he's doing.
Yeah. So if you're not watching them, check them out on YouTube and on Facebook, but YouTube. And I'll let you guys both go. It's been over or about 90 minutes now.
That's
I want to
cool,
thank
man.
you both for taking the time to do this, especially you, Tommy, being that you're in Hawaii. So your time is a little extra.
Got to do it, man. It's rough.
Oh,
I
I bet. Are
appreciate
you
it.
going to take us to the window you mentioned before we started? Can we end this on the view?
Let me see. Oh. Where are you guys?
The screen went black.
There you are.
Might be the camera's off.
There you are.
Maybe.
I don't know what happened there.
There it is. We're back.
Oh, man.
Holy moly.
So where are you right now?
Ka'anapali, Maui.
Oh, beautiful, man. Look at that. Was it 75, 80 degrees?
About 84.
It's perfect. Is the humidity very high there?
About 60, 70.
What is it in California, Eric?
The humidity, you said?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not very humid. I don't know the percentage, but it's on the drier side. It's real
Okay.
nice. I mean, it's technically kind of the desert, you know,
Yeah.
California.
I love it.
So
Have you
it's,
been to
nice
Hawaii?
and dry and sunny.
Eric, you been to Hawaii?
Yes. Been to Kauai and Oahu.
Well, all I know is I have a really good tour guide. When I get off the plane, his name's Tommy. He's going to pick me up, take me everywhere.
I'll be here.
All right.
I'm
Thank you
excited.
both again for
Hey,
taking the
thanks,
time,
guys.
sharing the
I
knowledge
appreciate
and
it.
all the years you've paved and all done for the industry. And congratulations, Tommy, on your induction into the Window Film Hall of Fame, and
well
Mike,
deserved.
for you last year as well. Congratulations.
Well, I really honestly reached out to you, Eric, because I don't feel like the window film community really gives the respect to Tommy he deserves. I think he deserves a even higher. Like, if you have the Hall of Fame, there needs to be one above that. Like, this guy deserves to be at the top. Like, he's the man. Like, he inspired me.
Everybody else.
What's that?
Just put plastic on glass like everybody else.
Yeah, but you did it really well, and you built a great team, and you're amazing, and you've been an inspiration to me for years. And
thank you too, buddy.
If I need some advice now, I'm actually calling him.
And I think Eric, man, you've come so far with and done so well with Tint Wiz, and
yeah,
you're a marketing guru, man. I watch.
Yeah, I love everything Eric does too. I've been so impressed with him. He's supposed to reach out to Audrey and some of my team. They're looking to do some stuff with you. You need somebody to call them. I tell everyone, I have a team of people. Don't call me. I'm just the guy that's going to point you in the direction of who you need to talk to.
Well, Tommy, especially just knowing you for many years before Tint Wiz existed, you know, back in when I was attending Vista meetings and so on, you're somebody I've looked up to, and I echo everything Mike just said about you. So really, thank you for all the years you've put into the industry and all you've done.
Very humble. I'm very proud of our industry. I just right place, right time. I mean, you know, being here is something that I think was a big positive influence on me, as far as, you know, being in a little captured market, and, you know, my closest competitors are 2,500 miles away.
So I'm going to say this. I'm only going to get one more minute, but Tommy was on the board of, like, I don't know what it was, the board, but you influenced the tint laws in Hawaii. I don't know if you knew that, Eric. Like the tint laws, they were okay. So the audience that's watching,
not
right
just
now,
influence, like fought for years to change the laws and to make sure that tint wasn't outlawed in Hawaii. So everybody with tint in Hawaii should be thankful. And
they should
you
get
never know
royalties.
the ripple effect that would have had on other states, because states copy states. So if that would have happened in Hawaii, other states could have copied afterwards. So everyone, has to be appreciative of those types of things that happened decades ago, but influence tint today.
Yeah. Tommy, could you video yourself explaining what that process was like and what you did? I'd like to have that footage. Could I get you to just take your phone and video the explanation of what you went through on getting those? Because I think we could throw that on the Window Film Revolution. We could throw that on the stores. People need to hear that freaking story, man. It's freaking amazing.
I mean, it was mostly the lobbyists that we hired, Hawaii Business League. They really, for very little money, you can become part of your legislative lobbyist groups in your state and support them. I mean, I've been supporting them for 42 years now. Every year, it's about $500 a year to be a member of that group, and they help you when you need when you have problems with a tint law or any law that's affecting our business, work comp laws, all of that stuff. They watch and they'll go and start lobbying. I get an alert from them till today about anything that might compromise our tint law.
If someone wanted to reach out to you, Tommy, what's your social media? So if in the tinters and on the forums and the groups, since you're retired and you don't have a lot of things that you're just sitting around watching the beach every day, how do younger tinters reach out to you?
Probably easiest via Instagram, Tommy Silva 808. At Tommy Silva 808, or you can email me at tommy@tnttinting.com.
Well, good. I'm going to blast it all over the internet so everybody knows how to get a hold of you, man.
All right. Well, thank you, everyone. Enjoy your day. And thanks again for sharing, all the years of experience.
In my response to it, because there's a Mai Tai waiting for me down there under the coconut tree.
I love it. Thanks, Eric. Thank you for doing this for us, man. Thank you so much for everything you're doing, bro.
Love you guys. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Enjoy your day, everyone.
See you guys. Bye-bye.